All you action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here with another T&I toy review. And for today's review, I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new DC Comics 112 Collective Darkseid figure from Mezco Toyz. Now this figure comes packaged in a special metal tin, kind of like you see with the 112 Collective exclusive figures. You've got just the blue on the front with the Omega symbol for Darkseid there and the name of the character up at the top. And then down below you've got the Mezco 112 Collective logo and the DC Comic logo. On the sides you have things just like the Mezco URL, the 112 Collective logo, the name of the character, all done in red. On the bottom there, again, you just have Darkseid. On the back of the tin, you have an image of the figure showing off the various accessories, and then down below some more action shots showing off the actual figure. And then this tin opens up, it just lifts up, and you can't actually take the tin off of the lid off, so you just have to kind of lift it up. You've got the instruction sheet inside that shows you how to work up the light up eye features and everything. Then you've got this outer piece of foam for extra protection that covers all the accessories, and then you can see those are displayed in an inner foam piece. And then you've got this cutout for the figure, so you can remove this piece of foam, and then you've got the figure displayed inside there. And then when you remove this outer foam on the underside there, you've got things like the figure stand. All right, so let's get this out of the tin and take a closer look at the figure. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside the packaging along with the other contents. Now this figure does come with quite a few accessories. Now one thing I do want to note, which is a little strange, not a big deal, but something I noticed, is there is no Ziploc bag with this particular figure, at least not with mine. Usually all the 112 Collective figures come with little Ziploc bags so you can store all the accessories in, but this particular figure did not come with one. Okay, now the first accessory that we're going to look at that comes with this figure is the standard Mezco 112 Collective figure stand slash figure base. So you get the little plastic base that's done with the circle. With this particular one, it's done with blue, and you've got the Omega symbol for Darkseid. You've got the little foot peg there so you can stand the figure on the base, or you can remove that peg, and the easiest way to do that is take the flight arm that's also included and just push it through from the bottom, and that should pop it right out. And then you can take this clear plastic flight arm and just stick it into the base and now use it as a flight stand. And you get multiple points of articulation, so you get back and forth movement here, and of course you can rotate it there in the base. Then you get back and forth movement there and up here as well. You've got screws so you can tighten and loosen it, and this clip is actually removable, so you can rotate up top here, or you can just take it off, and then the clip opens up and you can just put it around the figure's waist or what have you. Next up, the figure comes with this cape, so this is removable, and these shoulder pads are done with a die-cast metal. It feels kind of like there's a magnet in there, so it's not a strong magnet, but you basically just set the cape on the shoulders there, and it seems to stay on there pretty good. I haven't had any real problem with it coming off, so no issue there. It does have a good weight to it. The cape part itself is done with a leather type cloth material, and then the way it's done, it comes over the shoulders, so the cape pretty much covers the figure's arms. You know, you can have him stick his arms, and that does lift up the shoulder pads a little bit when you're like start moving the arms around and stuff, but you can get them in some okay poses. Now for me personally, I don't really consider Darkseid as someone who wears a cape a lot, so this probably isn't an accessory that I'm going to use a whole lot, but overall, you know, I think it's kind of cool that they included it. You've got the lighter blue and then the darker blue on the cape, and then on the underside of the cape it's just done with a dark navy color. The figure comes with multiple pairs of hands, and the detailing on these is pretty good with the blue, and then you've got the metallic silver and black, and you've got a pair of closed-fisted hands, a pair of open hands, and then an extra left hand that's made for holding the mother box that's included with the figure, which I'll show you in just a second. And here's a look at that mother box, and this is made with actual metal, and the detailing on it, the sculpting detail is really nice. You've got some line work that looks like actual circuitry on this side, and then even on the sides it is thin looking, you know, it's kind of looks like a tablet or something. And then on this side you've got like the Omega symbol and some more line work and circles and everything, so it looks like actual circuitry. You got these little knobs that stick out here on the top, and again, this is actually made with feels like a die cast type metal, and there's I think there's a magnet inside this. And when the figure's not holding the mother box in its hand, you can store it on the back of its belt with the magnet, and it just pops into place like that, and it does stay nice and tight. And you can pretty much store it any way you want back there. You can have it facing upward, or you can flip it around and have it facing this way. It doesn't really matter. And again, because of the magnet, it does stay on there nice and tight, and you don't really have to worry about it falling off. Okay, and then finally you get 4 different face plates with this figure. Each one has a different expression. So you've got the normal looking one, and then you have one with an evil grin. Then you have this one where it looks like his face is kind of breaking up. You've got some cracks here, and with all of these you have red translucent plastic on the eyes. With this one you've also got red translucent plastic where those cracks are, and the eyes will light up on this figure, so you know, it gives you that added effect for his Omega Beam. And then this final one actually has the Omega Beam shooting out of it. They're done with clear translucent plastic. They're not removable, but if you want to have that effect where he's shooting out the Omega Beam from his eyes, this is a cool one to have. Now for the light up effect to work, you have to install 2 little watch batteries, which are included. You'll need a little Phillips head screwdriver, and you'll just unscrew that and lift that little plate off and install the batteries, and then put it back on. And this is an actual magnet. That's what holds the faceplate in, and the eyes you can see light up. So to turn the light on, there's a little switch on the bottom of the head sculpt. You just pop it off the figure and you turn this on, and you can see it's a pretty bright light. So you know, when you put these faceplates on, and to put the faceplates on, what you want to do is first kind of put the chin in first, and then just push it in, and it holds in place with those magnets. And so this is the one with the Omega Beam. And you know, I'll turn some lights off in a moment so you can see, but it actually lights up pretty good even when you have the lights on. This is the one where it looks like his face is kind of cracking up, or you know, where the Omega Beam is like, you know, messing up his face. So you get the added translucent plastic where all those cracks are. And again, you know, the lights do work nicely. I don't know how long, you know, the lights on the eyes will stay on as long as you have the switch on. I don't know how long the batteries will last, so I wouldn't leave it on indefinitely, because probably would only last for a few hours. It would, I don't know, almost with this one, it would have been cool maybe if they'd made it so you just pushed a button and they stayed on for a few seconds. But again, you do have to pop the head off and then hit that switch if you want to turn the lights on or off. Okay, so I've turned off the overhead lights so you can get a better look at the lighted up eye effect. And let me turn off the camera light here. And so now it's complete darkness, and you can see, you know, again, it does light up nicely. With this one, you've got the cracks, so that gives you the added effect. Here's the one shooting out the Omega Beam. And again, let me turn off the camera light here. And so you can see this one, you know, lights up pretty good, especially around the eyes. You know, you get that added effect, so it looks like he's actually shooting the laser beams out of his eyes. And then here's the one with like the evil grin, and again, the eyes light up nicely with this. And then finally, just the normal faceplate, and again, you have pretty good effect with the eyes. Now, one thing I do want to note is you get a little bit of gappage with some of the face plates between where, you know, it attaches and the helmet. It's not a big deal, but you do see a little bit gappage with some of them. And then the other thing I want to note about the face plates is, while I think the sculpting detail on them is pretty good, looks like, you know, Darkseid from the comics and everything, and he's got the cracks on his face and everything, which look good, and those are sculpted in there. But there's not a whole lot of paint detail on the face plates themselves. You know, there's no black in the cracks or anything. You can see some black on his arms and stuff, but they essentially just left the faceplates unpainted with just the basic gray. Now for the rest of the figure, first thing I want to note is this is a very solid and heavy figure with, you know, some die-cast metal on it and everything, so it is very heavy. And overall, I think the detailing on the rest of the figure is really nice. You've got the sculpting detail on the arms with the cracks and everything, or the muscles and the cracks with the black and everything, the black wash. So I think that looks good. You've got the metallic silver on the helmet with a darker gray, and then you've got the lighter gray color on the face there. Again, really, as far as paint goes, the only minor complaint is on the faceplates themselves. There's just kind of a lack of detailing there. But then you've got like this dark gray around his collar here, and this upper piece is a hard plastic and metal. You know, this metal portion is feels like die-cast metal, and you've got some black wash in there. You got this lighter gray here, and this again is hard plastic, so that's pretty good. And the belt is made with metal, and you've got the black wash there, so that looks good. And again, you have the mother box here, which I kind of knocked with my hand, but you know, it looks good on the belt there. The shirt he's wearing is made with a fabric type material, and it sticks out underneath his belt here. And then even on the legs and the boots, you have nice detailing with the line work on the legs, and the gray on the legs and the arms match up nicely. The gray on the faceplate matches up with the arms and the legs nicely. Again, it just would have been nice if they had added maybe some black there on the line work just for some extra detail. And then you've got the big, you know, boots that he's wearing which matches up. It's a darker kind of blue with black wash, and then you've got the metallic silver with the metal portions, and even on the bottom of his feet, you've got nice sculpting detail. Now this figure stands just a little bit over 8 inches tall. Now here's a comparison with a couple other Mezco 112 collective figures. So we've got the Deathstroke figure, and then I have Batman from the Dawn of Justice movie, the Ben Affleck Batman. And overall I would say the scale between these three is pretty good. Now here's a comparison with the Superman figure from DC Collectibles, the new DC Essentials Superman figure. And I think the scale between these two is pretty good as well. So if you wanted to use this Darkseid with your new DC Essential figures, I think it would work pretty good. Here's a comparison with an older Mattel 6-inch Darkseid figure. And then finally, here's a comparison with the DC Icons 6-inch scale, even though this character was, you know, they did Darkseid as a huge character, so he is taller than the 112 collective version here, but this is the DC Icons version from DC Collectibles. And the main thing I want to point out between these two, this is the new 52 version, so it's a more modern look for Darkseid, but the main thing I want to point out here is just the detailing on the face. I do think it looks better on this DC Icons version over the one that looks more plastic-like with the Mezco 112 collective version. Okay, so for articulation on this one, you can turn the head to the left and to the right, and he can look down a little bit, and he can look up about that much. You also get some head pivot with this one, which is nice. Actually, you get pretty good head pivot, but the back and forth movement is a little bit limited on this one. With the shoulders, you can get the arms out good, and you've got pretty good rotation there at the shoulder. You do not have a bicep swivel. You have a rotation at the elbow, and then you only get a single hinged elbow, so you really can't bend very much there at the elbow, which is a little disappointing. And then you've got rotation with the hands. They're on a ball hinge joint, so you've got up and down movement there with the hands. You've got essentially a waist swivel with this one, so you can rotate and you can pivot a little bit to the left and the right. It really doesn't get much crunch movement there. You can't really crunch forward, and then really doesn't have much back movement either. It can just basically look straight ahead. With the legs, he can do the splits good there, and then he can get his leg forward pretty good, and he can do his leg back pretty good. You do have a thigh swivel with this one. You have a single hinged knee, so he can only bend his knee that much, and then you get some rotation there at the knee, just a little bit though. And then with the feet, you've got some back and forth movement and a little bit of pivot, but not a whole lot. No toe articulation or anything. And then 2 peg holes on the bottom. And just to note, even though this is a pretty heavy figure, at least initially, the joints seem to be pretty tight. So I'm not too worried about loose joints. Maybe over a long period of time, they might get a little bit loose. But right now, at least starting off, the joints are fairly tight. Not too tight, but tight enough that you don't have to worry about the figure falling over. Okay, so that's my review. So, you know, I gotta say, I'm pretty selective when it comes to 112 collective figures. I don't get them all. I'm not a huge fan of the cloth outfits on a lot of them, but when I saw this one, you know, for the first time at the conventions, I was definitely impressed. It caught my eye, which is why I went on and got it. And for the most part, I do think this figure delivers. My only minor complaint, I would have liked to have seen a little more paint detail on the faceplates, but I do like the features. I like the accessories. I like the light up eye effect. I think that's pretty cool. So, you know, if you are a fan of the classic Darkseid, I think this is one you'll want to check out. Now, this figure is available now. We'll have a full image gallery up at toynewseye.com. There'll be a link in the video description below. As always, leave a comment and let me know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, you should hit the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. And of course, you can also follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. I have links to all those in the video description as well. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.